All right. What is going on, everybody? Shout out to y'all. Hope you are doing good. I know it's been a minute. Yeah, I know how it's been. It gets a little crazy. We in the off-season time. There's a lot of stuff that's happened. Y'all haven't heard from us in a minute, but we back, baby. You see it. I got my brother Eru up here joining me. Appreciate you, Eru. I hope you're doing well.
Trying to stay busy, man. Like you said, it's not easy being consistent, especially now that the summer's here. You know, there's a lot of cookouts, a lot of happy hours, and various other things, man. So good to be here.
Yeah. Hey, same here, brother. I mean, you get a little caught up, and you miss this talk. I miss this time to be able to chop it up with my brothers, and also to be able to see what's going on in the chat and get other people's takes on stuff with the Knicks, or whether it be with regards to the NBA, whatever it is. I miss this time. The more and more you're away from it, the more you miss it. So
definitely,
yeah. But we back, and being that we are back, automatically, we got to get into the NBA champion and all that stuff, and the Celtics and who they are and all that good stuff, because, we got to respect who they are. They won the championship, so got to give them love. Right. But before we get into that, I mean, we got to get right into it. I mean, first trade of the new offseason, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise, man.
I know, man.
Now, right? I was like, I had to look at the date. Like, what is it's June 20th? Is that about that time?
Yeah. Time is flying, bro. I mean, the NBA draft is next week. It's crazy.
Yeah. Then the off season is going to start right after that, right after July 4th.
Yeah. So we are here. And the first trade, man. Alex Caruso gets traded for Josh Giddey. So, I don't know, man. What's your first impressions of the trade itself? Like, what do you think about it?
Like initially, like you get like the first things, like Giddey. They gave up on Giddey so easily. Then on one side you could say maybe they could have got something different for him. But then you look at it, Caruso's all NBA defensive player. Leadership wise and all this other stuff that add to the team. So you can see why OKC did it. And then from the other side, I don't know what Chicago's doing, to tell you the truth, but they might be trying to add more talent to the roster. I don't know if they're going to keep their DeRozan or Levine, but Josh Giddey, is there to. If it was me, I would be thinking to build with Kobe White. So I kind of like Giddey and Kobe White together. So it's a good trade. Right off the bat, all those thoughts came to my head.
Right. I mean, that makes sense, because the one thing is, like, the Bulls look like they're in a break it down, rebuild it phase, but maybe they don't want to do the full rebuild. So maybe they want to kind of change their blueprint and kind of adopt a blueprint that teams like Sacramento, Indiana, OKC are doing, where they're building around young talent. But they don't want to just blow it up and just start relying on the draft. Maybe they want to get some young pieces to have a little bit of a core that they can work with while they continue to cultivate the team with draft talent.
Is that a good idea, though?
Yeah, for the Bulls, yeah, because I think the Bulls are done, bro. I think the Bulls are like going in the wrong direction. I think they got aging veterans. They're paying these guys a lot of money. At some point, you just got to scrap it. Because, and even their young player, I mean, I don't even know how old he is now. Like, how old is Alonzo Ball? Like, he's just never healthy, and who knows, his career may be in jeopardy. So it's kind of tough. So I kind of liked what you said as far as building around Kobe White and bringing in the Josh Giddey, and then going from there. But it's like, where else can they go?
Right, they're like in between because they just re-signed Vucevic too. So I don't know what they're
Did
doing.
they?
Yeah, well,
I
I
don't know
mean,
why
like
they
a
would do
year or
that.
so ago, he's like 34 years old. So I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't know what they're doing, man. Zach LaVine doesn't want to be there; he's injury prone and stuff like that. DeRozan, DeRozan still could play, but it's like, what are they doing? I don't know, because I mean, like, my thing is, if you're gonna like go for a full rebuild, I think you should just do the whole thing quick, not just rebuild and still try to win at the same time. I don't think that's the right idea. I mean,
I hear what you're saying. I don't think they're really okay. So I think they're doing what Utah did.
Okay.
Because Utah didn't expect to, that came out of the blue. The way Utah started that season, was it 2 years ago? Like, nobody expected Utah to be running away. They were in the tops in the West. That was nuts. And in the end, as the season progressed, when we got to the end of the season, they were right where we thought they would be. But yeah, I think I think they're kind of following that. You don't expect to really win, but you want to put a product out there that brings in revenue, that gives fans a chance to come watch you. You don't want to be just the stinky. You don't want to be Detroit, should I say?
Yeah, that's the thing too. Detroit's right there too. So Detroit is completely stinking it up. So they're a big market. Chicago's a big market. So they got the Dolan complex. Remember, Dolan was interfering. They want to win still, and then they still want to draft and stuff. So it's a bad place to be. I don't want to ever be there again.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. That place stinks. That's not it. And especially after we've tasted some winning again, and then we know what that looks like. Yeah, no one. I don't think anybody wants us to go back there, and I don't know why the Bulls would really want. But sometimes you have no choice, because they just had a really some bad luck, man. And the Lonzo Ball thing is crippled them. So.
Yeah, he's bugged out. I heard him on a podcast talking about that they put like a cadaver's meniscus in his knee. I'm like, you're done, bro. There's no way. Because you can't grow meniscus, and then so that they would have to like graft the meniscus to the knee. Like, to me, there's no way the knee is gonna stay intact. Playing. I mean, just for me and you getting on the train and going to work, that's one thing. But for him to be running up and down a basketball court for 82 games, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, that's wow. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, you appreciate the effort to try to get back, because I mean, he obviously loves basketball, and of course he's got the obligations. Like, nobody really talks about that, but the organization wants him to honor his contract as best as he can.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's a rough one, man. That's a rough one. So I don't know what they're gonna do going forward. If I was them, I would personally decide. I would think to blow it up. You're paying money to DeMar DeRozan. The team's not going anywhere. You re-upped on Vucevic. Figure out a trade partner for Vucevic. Get Zach LaVine up out of there, and then just whatever you got left, work with that, and then add to it with young talent that allows you to, maybe compete on a given night. But realistically, we know you're going to be in the top 5 in the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, those players are still good. Like DeRozan, you can get like 2 or 3 players for him. Zach LaVine, 2 or 3 players, and Vucevic, 2 or 3 players too, depending on what you're trying to get. So I mean, if they do that, they can legit do a light reset.
That's what I'm saying.
Just like the Utah situation, like you said, yeah, they can legit get right back in the mix too. So
I think that's something that's what they should be thinking to do. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking to do, but if I was them, I'd be thinking to do that, because they have some tradable assets. Not everybody's fortunate enough to do that. Sometimes your team just stinks and you got nothing to leverage. So, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with them. So, I think it's interesting.
You mentioned Detroit, man. So I'll throw that at you. What do you think about what my man Monty Williams did over there in Detroit? It's kind of embarrassing to me, man.
That was a great transition.
That's what you want to talk about next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Man, this is what I'm talking about. We had to get this back, man, because you know what I mean. Let me just put that up there. Boom. So Monty Williams fired, huh? Ooh, man.
What a goof, man. Like all season, he was complaining about the refs and complaining he's not getting fouls and people are picking on his team and all kind of stuff. I mean, like, dude, like you look at your roster, man. You weren't going to make the playoffs. Like, what were you thinking? So he kind of like embarrassed himself and he embarrassed Detroit, to tell you the truth. Because I think nowadays people are in tune with social media and things like that. So like Detroit, they saw what everybody was saying. So you just turn yourself into a laughing stock, and I'm quite sure the players were tired of him too.
Yeah,
To the point where $65 million for free now.
that's crazy. I so let me. Could he have been that bad that after one season they fired him? Like and they're like, I don't care. I don't care what we owe him. Get him out of here. I mean, what the hell, bro?
$65 million is a lot of bread, man.
That's a lot of money for a coaching position to begin with, and then for you just to walk away after one season.
Yeah, Phoenix still owes him money too.
He caking up all here.
Yeah, I think Phoenix owes him 20 million, and then Detroit got to finish off that 65.
Oh, he good.
That's crazy.
He's good. That's like, I mean, it sucks, but I mean, damn, that's a hell of a. You don't see that every day.
Speaking of which, man, I want to know if he needs a side chick or something like that. He got $85 million in the bank right now, doing nothing, man.
Jeez, that is wild, bro. Yeah, I you know what? Thank you for reminding me that I forgot that Phoenix still owed him money. That's wow, he's caking up.
I kind of wanted him to coach the Knicks too. He was on my radar because he's a former Knick. I kind of liked his fiery attitude. But it just didn't translate correctly in Detroit. And he just was like, you can see that he's a spoiled, like he's a sore loser. That's one thing. He doesn't like to lose.
Right.
And you like to be a coach, you have to win and lose gracefully. Shout out to the roommates. They had Tom Thibodeau on the pod, and Tom Thibodeau just got an even kill always. They ask him a question, and sometimes he'll sit there and he'll do like this. You know me, I ain't got, either hot or cold. He's always even kill. So that's the sign of a good coach. You have to be able to keep your emotions together.
Right. That's true. I mean, I don't know personally. How I feel. It's weird because I'm wondering, like, I don't care to do the work, but I'm wondering, like, if there was a deep dive into the Phoenix Suns before Monty Williams took over, what that team looked like and what he actually added to the team. Because the way this is going, I'm like, yeah, did he do anything over there, or was the talent so good that he coasted a little bit? I don't think so. I actually think he did a good coaching job when I saw him with Phoenix. I think he let that team get away from him. I think he allowed too many childish young antics to go on. I mean, there was like a fraternity over there, stupid dancing and all this dumbness. They were doing a lot of stuff instead of just worrying about winning.
Yeah.
And it came back to bite them, especially in that season where they won 60 plus games and wound up, they were the favorites from day one and wound up not getting it done. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting thought with Monty. Now, the other thing too is now maybe it's not necessarily him. Maybe Detroit just said that it's time to make a change. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard Joe Dumars is out in Detroit as well. Like Trajan Langdon is the guy over there, which is crazy because I remember watching Trajan Langdon when he was with Duke at the college. That's nuts.
He was supposed to be as good as Steph or as good as Roy. What's his name? Roy from Portland. What's his name? Roy.
Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy, right? He was supposed to be that good, but he ended up just being a regular player when he was in the NBA.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't. It's crazy. I don't know what can you really say about that. It's wild. I will say that Detroit may just be cleaning house. So maybe Monty is not as bad as this whole thing looks. I mean, of course, he's very opinionated and he's a little bit, clown antics, but maybe it's just one of them things where they just said, listen, we want a clean house, start fresh, because the direction is not what we want. So maybe that's all it was.
Yeah, Trajan wants his own coach. He wants to handpick his own coach. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. DeAndre Ayton, he was fighting with DeAndre Ayton too. So
I remember.
Just looking at Detroit, after seeing him argue with a young player like that, just openly on the court where they got to hold him back and that type of stuff. While they should have steered clear of that, because it's obviously this dude has a disconnect when it comes to like young guys or whatever. So that would have questioned his his ability to develop young players, to me. So
really good point. So I think that was a very questionable hire in that regard. I think you kind of got to give Monty Williams a decent product that he can work with. Maybe he can cultivate them a little bit, but I don't know, from the ground up, maybe he's not that type of guy. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. King Ribby, Daniel Berry, Harlem CEO, Humble Down. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for rocking. And those who are watching that aren't in the chat, appreciate y'all as well. Oh, I also wanted to do this real quick in regards to well, it's not working right now. We'll come back to it. But either way, so because I wanted to put up a little comparison real quick between Josh Giddey and Alex Caruso. I can't do it that way, but let me do it. I'll just do it this way. I'm gonna have to save this as a PDF because it won't show up. 2 seconds.
Definitely two different players, two different stages of their career too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like the defensive wise, I mentioned it on my show. Getting Caruso takes it gives Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a break defensively, because he's doing everything, so he shouldn't have to guard the best guy on the other side too. So Caruso, if they decide to start him, that would be a good tandem with him and Shai Gilgeous over there.
I like it. I'm just a little confused about it, to be honest. So here's the head-to-head between these two guys. This is what they did this past season. Alex Caruso, 10.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.7 steals. That's a high number, man. He's a beast.
Yeah.
1 block a game, 46.8 shooting from the field, which is really nice for a guard. 40.8 from 3. He doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but that's a nice number for him.
Yeah.
76% from the free throw. So, Alex Caruso is a very solid player. Then you got Josh Giddey, 12.3 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.6 blocks, shooting 47.5% from the field, 33.7 from 3, under average, and then 80% from the free throw line. And he is 6'8", 6'9". So it's interesting. My whole thing that I'm most interested about with Josh Giddey is, did OKC do the right thing by losing him as a playmaker? Do they have enough playmaking? Maybe they do. They've got some talented players over there. I just don't know. I don't watch enough OKC to see how their offense runs, to see if he's really a focal point the way he was when he first came into the league. You know what I mean? Now they might have changed the way they run things.
That's what it is. They changed what they're doing. Shout out to their guy. What's money's name? I'm trying to get the roster up here. What's money's name? The one of the Williams guys. He emerged as a scorer, so he just basically took Josh Giddey's spot. And then they started winning, and then nothing you could really do. And then plus, he had off-season stuff too. So I just think they just want to go in a different direction. Jalen Williams, he emerged. 19 points per game. He could have made an all-star team. That's how good the team was. So they just went in a different direction. Giddey actually went to the bench because the year before, Giddey's stats were a little bit better. I want to say. trying to get to it
Yeah,
now. He
yeah.
16 points per game last year. His assists were actually up in the sixes last year, and his
Mm-hmm.
rebounds was 7.9 last year. You know,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe they just kind of fell out of love with his style of play for what they were trying to do. And then they wound up getting some more dogs on that team that can bucket. So I think, that
yeah,
definitely didn't help him either because this Jalen Williams. I think
yeah,
that's who you said. Yeah, he's a
yeah,
beast.
yeah. So it just brings to Chicago. What are they trying to do by bringing Giddey there? Because
Well, to
Giddey.
me, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was
Oh
just
no,
gonna say we brought up Lonzo Ball, and
right,
one of the big things that the Bulls ran into is that Lonzo Ball not only gave them defense, not that Giddey's gonna give them defense, but he was their primary playmaker. And
right,
when they lost him, I think their offense just was a level of stagnant. It was, one-on-one ISO type breakdown plays and just not a lot of good ball movement and good creation over there. So he might be able to do a lot going
yeah,
over there. So maybe the other side of it is maybe the Bulls are not folding. Maybe they said, look, you look at our team, the one piece that was missing that we did well with was having Lonzo Ball. Yes, the defensive end was important because he added more defense to the team, but his facilitating might have been the biggest thing. So maybe just bringing in Giddey, maybe they just run it back with who they got and say, let's go, give it another shot.
they're bugged out though because they're just running it back just to stay relevant. They're trying to stay, they're trying to get into the playoffs, by any means necessary, whether or not they're contending or floundering as a team or not. They just want to get into the playoffs, just like we said, just because they're a market team and they
Yeah.
what a bad place to be, man.
Thankfully, we're not there.
I mean, we were there for a lot of years, man. So
I know.
I can empathize with them, man. But I'm so glad that we're over that and we're in a different stage of the Knicks, history right now. So I don't want to look back at that again.
Yeah, yeah. And then you look at just understanding the fact that Giddey's assist, like that's another big thing that it dropped. So, that's a big drop. If he was in the sixes, he's now at 4.8. But it could be a lot of usage too, because they cut his minutes.
Yeah,
So maybe that will help. Maybe that'll get him back to where he was. And honestly, I think he needs to get out of OKC because his off the court stuff got a little crazy over there. I think it wasn't factual because it looks like it went away. But either way, maybe a different, change of pace, new scenery might help the young man out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chicago's cold too, man. I don't know if he's gonna be ready for that cold weather, man. Him being from Australia and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They already had him looking crazy. I never forget when he first came into NBA 2K. This dude, they gave him gray skin. I'm like, what did they do with this guy? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was nuts. Anyway, so that's that. Let me get that out of here. We'll see what happens, man. But I think it's really interesting. I don't know, 'cause they could really go either way with that move over there. But gotta talk about these guys, man. Gotta talk about the NBA champion Boston Celtics. I think what is this, number 18? That's what I've been hearing. I think.
Yeah, that's a lot of chips,
Jesus.
man.
That is a lot of chips, man. That is a lot of chips.
That adds to the conversation because people always get mad about the Knicks. Oh, it isn't. Yeah, but like we got one team that won 18 and the Lakers won 17. So that's like two teams that took up like 35 championships, throughout the history of the NBA. So, you just trickle down the line. The Bulls won 6, Lakers won, not the Lakers, there's whoever else won, down the line. People have won multiple championships down the line. So that takes away the opportunities. There's always been another team that's been better. The Knicks have just not been lucky. We won 2 though. If you look at the history of the NBA, there's not many teams that's won 2. So it's not that easy. It's not as easy as people make it seem to me, unless you're a Celtics or Lakers fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say though, there's been a lot of hate on this Boston Celtic team. Right,
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of the Celtics. A lot of us Knicks fans aren't fans of the Celtics, but I mean, you got to give them credit. They were the best team in the league all year. Um, that's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Did they get a little help with the way everything played out? Yeah. Teams, players were injured. The path was a little light. You know what I mean? But even saying that, I don't want to take too much away from them because they ran through everybody anyway. They played everybody and they ran through the league. So, but I'm just saying for the playoffs, they got a nice little road. It was cleaned up for them.
Right. It's definitely not easy too. That's another thing too. Like this, they were favorites to win. So just because they're favorites to win doesn't mean they win. If you go down the line for every year, the favorites to get to the end. Miami got there once. There's been a few teams that shouldn't have been there that made it there. It's like look at Dallas. Nobody had Dallas favorite to be in the finals. You know what I'm saying? So for them to be heavily favored like that and they still ride the storm and get to the end, you just got to tip your hat to them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true, man. That's 100%. Like you just gotta give them credit for who they are. Shout out to Wacko in Brooklyn. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Danny Landis in the building. Salute, Danny. Hope you're doing well. So here's the question. Here is the question, my brother. And I think it's one of those that if you really look at it, there could be a real argument. Let me get your take on this and see how you feel. I know some people that aren't really paying attention might automatically be like, "What are you talking about?" But Celtics become one of the greatest teams in NBA history
this season.
For a season, not a dynasty, nothing. We're talking about one season.
I don't know about that, man. They're definitely a unique team. A lot of 3-point shooting. They're not really like they play good team perimeter defense. They're aggressive in that way, but they're not really like a post up team so much. I don't know. They just maybe style of play is interesting. They're definitely new, but one of the greatest teams ever. I don't know about that, man. Come on. That's annoying to me because I mean, like let's say there's one team that's been on my mind for the longest, man. Only because like they won a championship before I was born, was the Seattle SuperSonics. Nobody ever talks about that squad, but if you're an older person, older than us, what I'm saying, they'll talk about Dennis Johnson, how he used to play over there, and Gus. Well, I forgot the other guy's name. There's quite a few. I think it's Gus Johnson over there. They have Hall of Fame players on that squad that people just completely forgot about. But if you talk to older people, they mention that squad as like one of like the best teams ever. But we never hear about them. But how many teams in every era, has had that one team that was really good? Detroit won with Ben Wallace and those guys. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty. They were pretty good. But is this team on that level of Detroit? Do you think? I just don't know. I just don't want to give them credit, bro.
I know, dude. Dude, I know. I get it. I hear you, brother. I listen. They won 64 games, 18 losses. They had a 14-game lead over the next best team, which was the Knicks. And that is one of the biggest margins in an Eastern Conference since 2006, right? So, that's impressive, right? The other thing is, they have had huge margins of victories. The Celtics average margin of victory over their opponent is 11.38 points per game. Almost 12 points per game they're beating their opponent. That's not easy to do, man. Like they've been running through the league. So I don't want to give them credit either, but I was like, when I started seeing certain things, I'm like, it's impressive. I can't lie.
Yeah, men lie, women lie, and numbers don't, right? But I still don't want to go to those guys' credit.
And by the way, that's the 5th highest margin of victory since 1971 in the Lakers. It's the Lakers, Milwaukee, Chicago, the Golden State Warriors in 2016 with Steph and Clay. and then this Boston Celtic team.
So does this Boston Celtics team rank up with those guys? Like, it sounds blasphemous to put them in the same conversation.
Man, I know it's crazy. What's this? The largest gaps in net rating, the Celtics 11.6. The Thunder, who was number 1 in the West, was 7.4. A 4.2 difference. I mean, if you get too crazy into these stats, it'll drive you nuts. But it's just nuts, bro. It's like they've adopted. What they've done is they've almost adopted the Golden State Warrior mentality. They may not have a guy like Steph or like Clay that takes a bunch of threes as an individual, but as a team, they're playing the same way. Their defense is similar. Their offense is being run similarly. So I think it's very interesting. It's surprising. You don't really pay attention to it. You just think, they're playing their style of basketball. But it's interesting.
Yeah, they've been a well-oiled machine. They've been playing that way for a minute, but this year, numbers don't lie. They have been very efficient, getting that moving that ball, know where the shots are coming from. Tatum doesn't do anything extra. Like they say, like Julius sometimes gets lost. Even Brunson sometimes gets lost in the sauce. But those guys, they get their moves going, and they know exactly what they're trying to do. If Tatum can't get that 3-point shot, he's going to drive in. If he can't get that drive, he's kicking it out. He has counter moves to different things of depending on where he normally gets his shots. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. They just know they never shoot shots where they don't typically make shots. Which you just got to give them credit, man. And just a 3-point shooting for the entire team to have everybody can shoot threes. Everybody's a good 3-point shooter on that team. That's incredible. That's good roster building for them.
Yeah, no, I mean it turned out for a team that kind of really never seemed like they could get it together. Like something was always missing with this team, but you knew they had talent. You knew they had a good defensive player in Marcus Smart, a defensive player of the year. They had a great two-way player in Jason Tatum, another great two-way player in Jaylen Brown, great complementary pieces because Derek White's been with them for a little while. They've had Al Horford. So it was always about what's missing. Why can't they put it all together? And somehow they found a way to do it this year. So does the credit go to the coach?
Brad Stevens, man. He started it all, man. He was the coach initially, and then he went to the front office. So,
But even when Brad Stevens went to the front office, Udoka was there, right? And if it wasn't for Udoka's scandal, he still would have been the coach. But even he had them on pace. They were playing good basketball, but they weren't playing as good as they're playing now. So is it just that
that's another guy?
Right. Is it the combination of them playing good basketball the way they were with the addition of Drew Holiday and Porzingis? Is that the big difference?
Perfect. You got to give them credit with that too, because they, as far as the front office, they were able to purge like bad teams. Like they took advantage of Portland, they took advantage of Washington Wizards, and they took advantage of San Antonio, plucking Derek White, Kristaps and Drew Holiday from these bad teams. So now that they end up on the Celtics, and then just look what happened, But you were talking about Mazzulla, right? The coach.
Yeah. Mazzulla.
I don't want to give that guy credit because I remember him. I think where he played for Providence. I forgot what team he played for, but he was trash, bro, as a player in college. But he came out with Kyrie and those guys. They all came out around the same time. He's only 34. So if he was a good player, he would actually be still playing in the NBA right now. But he was trash. So I just don't want to give that Celtics team no credit, no way, man. But you can't help but do it because the numbers don't lie, definitely.
And just so we understand, when we talk about the Boston Celtics, you can't not talk about them as being a really solid, really good basketball team, because points per game, they were number 2 in the league with 120.6, right behind Indiana. Rebounds per game, we talk about how good the Knicks are and how good of a rebounding team the Knicks are. The Knicks were 5th. Boston was number 2, which that's even surprising to me.
Yeah.
So blocks per game, Boston They were number one at 6.6 blocks per game. And then 3-pointers made. They made 1,351 3-pointers. The next best team was 12-11. That was Golden State. And they shot 38.8%, which was number 2 for an NBA team from 3-point range. 38.8 as a team.
And how much percentages of 3-pointers were their total shots? You know, they had
a
to shoot
lot.
Like 40-something%, right? Gotta be.
I
don't know if you have those stats up.
41% of their shots were 3-pointers.
That's a lot, man.
Imagine that. They took 41% of their shots with 3-pointers. They were making them at a 38.8 clip, almost 39% as a team.
That's crazy.
That's nuts, bro.
That's the 120 points right there.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Their corner threes were deadly. Anyway, but that's like cleaning the glass stats. But it's just I don't know. To me, now that is not. I give credit to Mazzulla for that. I don't know if it's Brad Stevens and Mazzulla, but the Boston wasn't playing that way the year before under Udoka. They were still a tough team, but they weren't jacking threes like this. So this is new.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
you got to give them credit, game management too, because that game where we was blowing them out, and the third quarter of the season, we was blowing them out, and then they just gave up. Third quarter, it was like, fuck it, you guys can take the win. We're just gonna sit my starters down. But then their bench came back, with all that 3-point shots. Svi Mykhailiuk, whatever he was a former Knick.
Oh man, Svi
Mykhailiuk, yeah, man, he was shooting the three. All that guys, Hauser and all those guys, they were shooting threes like crazy, and they were basically was playing the same offense. So they didn't change the offense; they still was running the same exact offense that they ran when they had the starters. So, that tells you how good of a coach that they have out there. If no matter who's out there, they're always going to be able to manufacture points through the offense that they have there. So, definitely kudos to Mazzulla. I don't want to give it to them, but the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, man. Listen, believe me, as I was looking at this stuff the other day and then revisiting it now, I didn't want to give them that credit either. But then I said, damn, that's actually pretty impressive. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it is what it is. So, so shout out to them, Knicks fans, my fellow Knicks fans out there, and the rest of the NBA fans. Boston Celtics is a damn good team. They were a damn good team this year. Now, every year is a different year. So that doesn't mean they're not unbeatable. They're just a really tough team to beat. And we've seen that. Even I will say, and I don't think I'm tooting the Knicks horn. I think the New York Knicks played the Boston Celtics, maybe one I want to say the Knicks played the Celtics the best out of any team throughout the season. Now, that doesn't mean another team hasn't beat the Celtics, but the Knicks were very close to beating the Celtics in multiple games. And obviously they blew them out, like that game that they gave up because they were getting smacked. So I really do think the Knicks have a good shot, healthy, to beat a Celtic team. But I understand how good that Celtic team is. When they're healthy and they got all these pieces, if they can keep them together, they're a tough team. So.
Yeah, the Knicks are close, man. To bring it back to the Knicks, I mentioned that the Celtics, they went and they purged certain teams, to get certain guys for their because they've had good players on their team, like you mentioned, you mentioned a couple players, right? But they finally got the ones that fit properly. So I mean,
right.
How close are the Knicks to that? Because we have some movable parts now. OG was here last year. It doesn't mean that he's going to return. We can go in a different direction. So I mean, how close are the Knicks? As far as that, I know running it back would be nice, but are we like the Celtics where we need to make wholesale changes like that? Like it's lateral changes, but just to get the right player in there. What's your thoughts on that with the Knicks?
I think the Knicks. Honestly, healthy, are the second best team in the NBA.
Yeah,
I feel like this same team, healthy, is the second best team in the NBA because they have such a combination of the ability to score different ways. They've got some talented basketball players out there. They have finally got some good defensive pieces as a unit, like a full season from a Josh Hart and adding the DiVincenzo this year, and then bringing in OG Anunoby. I think it's huge for how they play and the type of things that Tom Thibodeau can do out there, because it's tough for him to do certain things on defense when he knows that guys just can't cover what he needs them to cover. But then you bring in DiVincenzo, who's been solid defensively, Josh Hart having a full season, and then Anunoby coming in and being a demon on defense, which makes everybody else better. Thibodeau was able to do a lot out there. So I think that part is good. And also, we also talked about the Knicks needing more size. Anunoby adds that size as well. We still could use a little bit more size, but you get it. Yeah. And then offensively, Anunoby's no slouch. Like, knocking down that corner three is helpful. His cutting to the basket, his getting like nice, quick, easy shots helps this team, because sometimes we get a little stagnant. And he cuts to the basket and makes different moves to give us baskets that we normally wasn't getting before from that position. So that's helpful. And then having a Julius Randle, I kind of said it a little bit on your show, but I was thinking about it, bro. Like, when I just thought about how Julius Randle plays, and I thought about his ability, and you said it yourself, like, you're not going to be able to find a 25, 10, and 5 guy everywhere you look at that position. Like, that's not easy to find. And he was doing that before he got hurt. I just think that, Julius Randle's underappreciated, because I just started to look at him more like from the time when he first came into the league, that he got hurt in the first game of the season and missed the whole season. And I looked at his defense with the Lakers. Obviously, somebody kind of broke it down a little bit. When you go to cleaning the glass, you could kind of get in a little bit more of a better idea of who he was defensively. But Julius Randle was a solid defender. With like a 107, then a 108, a 109 rating. With his offense, at that point, he had bunnies. He was dunking on people. He was still working on getting an outside shot. It was developing. Very athletic, could score inside at will with the size and everything. Julius Randle, to me, is just I just looking at him, is one of the best players in the league. Sometimes there's certain things we get mad about with him that he doesn't do when he doesn't step up and show that full potential, or sometimes when he takes off, some plays on the defensive end. But the dude's got everything, bro. He can do everything. So,
yeah. One thing that people get pissed off is that they don't want to see him do everything, kind of thing. But right. I just pulled those stats because I mentioned Kevin Garnett and him in the same breath, which is blasphemous. But if you look at the stats, even though it's like a little 5-year window with the Knicks, 25, 10, and 5 is basically what he's averaging. So I mean, Kevin Garnett did that in Minnesota, 22. 20, 10, and 5, basically. A little bit more rebounds, you know what I'm saying? But basically the same kind of stats. Of course, he had more steals and more blocks. But you get what I'm trying to say. But, Kevin Garnett didn't win a championship until those stats went back to normal. It went back to like 18, 9, and 3. 18, 9, and 3. So the point I'm trying to make is that, like, as the team is getting better now, adding Julius to this team, Julius doesn't have to give you 10, 25, 10, and 5. Maybe he needs to give us 18, 9, and 3. But he'll give that to us just based off because the rest of the team is so good. We're adding OG now, to start the season. Josh Hart off the bench possibly. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of guys that can take up for him. And so the minutes will be down. Because, I mean, looking at the minutes now, he played 32 minutes. I'm talking about Kevin Garnett. He played 32 minutes per game in Boston. But basically in Minnesota, the guy was averaging 39 minutes per game for the entire time, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So to drop his minutes that far down, just to give him the rest where he can do his thing when it's time, that's everything right there. And I think the Knicks are talented enough now to give Julius that break, to allow him to get back to playing basketball and stop trying to, be the hero all the time,
Right. Yeah, I hear you. That's very true. I think one thing is, Knicks fans, Julius Randle is sometimes underappreciated. We get mad at him, But I think sometimes when we get mad at him, we forget how good he is or how good he can be for the team, and we undervalue him because he's a really special player. We just take it for granted because sometimes we get mad.
you know, sometimes we get mad, but he gets mad too. He's human, and that the people hold that against him too. But he's a great dad. Absolutely good father. He has no scandals. He has a brand new kid. His wife is always, hanging from his waist. You know what I'm saying? His son is always hanging from his, so he's a good dude. He's still young too. So he's like growing up, just, because I mean, I was his age at one point. When I was his age, I was a hot tempered person too. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not the same person, that I am now that I was then. You know what I'm saying? So there's growth in a human being, man. You have to go through different experiences, learn different things, learn how to temper just your temper tantrums. You learn how to keep your emotions in check. Little things like that, and that's human stuff, man. So watching him do that and knowing that he has done that, man, then maybe we're all now on a beautiful path to where we need to go. Maybe he needed to go through all this stuff just to help us get to where we got to go.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I'm with you on that. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys once again. Smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Shout out to Dwayne Dennis in the building. Salute. Shout out to Supper Prince. Appreciate you. I don't think I've seen you in the chat too often. So thank you for being here. And shout out to our guy Walter Blackman in the building. Shout out. Walter. Okay. So Supper Prince says, so who's number one? I mean, this is Jalen Brunson's team. It doesn't what we talking about and how we talking about Julius Randle and what he can do, doesn't change what this Knick team needs to be. Like this got to be Jalen Brunson's team. We've already had the Julius Randle team. It didn't necessarily work out the way we wanted. Let's put him in the best position to succeed, which he's telling us. He told us. If you watch that podcast with Paul George, he said he likes when he can play with another good player on the team. He doesn't have to be the number one. So we got to listen to the man. Give him what he wants.
Yeah, he knows the game too because he was excellent in the finals. They invited him to be on a panel in the finals, and he was excellent, talking the game and stuff, man. So he's a good basketball player, man. He's valuable to us. Like I said, we can go in a different direction as long as it makes sense, and we can still get to where we need to go. Because I made a pod recently. I was connecting the X-Man to OG. So we only had X-Man for one season. You know what I'm saying? And the people were crying, "Oh man, we got rid of X-Man. We shouldn't have did that, this and the other." But nobody cared in '94. In 1991 when we lost X-Man, 92 or whatever. In '94, nobody thought about that because we were in the finals playing against Houston.
That's fair. That's a good point. So I mean, my whole thing is I don't think the Knicks should be looking to trade him, but I'm not saying if the right trade came along, you don't do it. I didn't, you got to do what you got to do. I'm just saying he shouldn't be the person you're looking. Like you're not looking. The Knicks shouldn't say, "Oh, well, we got to get rid of Julius Randle." That's not how it works. Right. You should be saying to yourself, "How can we make this team better?" And and if we're going after guys like Mikal Bridges and these people, then we shouldn't be trading Julius Randle. We should figure out another way to get him. Now, right. If we're going for the best players in the league, the Giannis's or guys like that, then we can get rid of Julius Randle. It is what it is. That's how I think the Knicks should look at it. To your point that you were saying on your show earlier, Julius Randle is the type of player that's putting up very consistent, solid numbers. He should not be a throw-in. You shouldn't have to add a whole bunch of pieces to move him in a trade. He should be valued just like one of the better players in the league.
Right. Yeah, and it's not just us talking. Not just us talking. He, we didn't give him the All NBA. We didn't give him an All Star berth. The NBA did that. So his peers say that. So he should be treated accordingly. Not just the way Knicks fans treat him. That's not
right.
Nice.
I mean, we're talking 2. I don't know if it's 3, but I think definitely 2 All NBA teams, 1 Most Improved Player, 3 All Star appearances. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So I got one more question for you, brother. Is Tatum and Brown the best duo in the NBA?
They just won, so I'll say yes. They just won. Because supposedly, Kyrie and Luka was. I thought they were like I thought they were gonna give a better fight, but I mean, I just think that Tatum and Brown, they know each other so well. That
Mm-hmm.
offense, they live in that offense, so they know exactly what to do. So they just in the right team. They've been together long enough. So they're one of the best duos in the league. Yeah,
I think that they definitely are. I think it's really interesting to watch what's happened to that team, to watch the growth of Brown. Um, Tatum has done a really good job this season of trying to stay as consistent as possible. For the most part in these playoffs, he did great. Um, in the Dallas series, I think he struggled here and there at points, but Brown stepped up, which is what usually Brown has done in the playoffs. Like whenever Tatum did struggle in the playoffs, Brown has usually been the guy. I think last year was the first time Brown ever really struggled in the playoffs with the Celtics, but this year he was back to being a solid playoff performer once again. The both of those guys averaging 20 plus points per game, and it's tough when you got two guys like that either one of them can flip the switch and be the go-to guy, and then either one of them gets you rebounds, whatever you need. If you need 12 rebounds from Jason Tatum, he can get you 12 rebounds. If you need 12 rebounds from Jaylen Brown, he can get you. It's not all the time, but when it comes to the playoffs and you got need guys to step up, they do it. You need assists, they can both get you 5 or 6 assists a game if need be. Like they can move the ball. um and then the defensive side, a lot of people give a lot of credit to Jaylen Brown for his defense and being one of the best two-way players in the league. But if you look at the statistics this year, Jason Tatum was one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best at his particular position.
yeah,
So those two are beasts.
yeah. You mentioned the assist, man. I think Tatum had 12 in the last game. 12 assists in the last game. Crazy. So I mean, they're good players, man. I believe that they just been playing together so long that offense is tailor made for them, and
Right.
they don't they're not like the media and the fans are concerned about the shots and who's the man type of thing. But I think between themselves, I think they just know they got each other's back. They're going for it. If you ain't got it at this moment, I got it. I got it. And vice versa. I think they just got each other's backs out there. I think Julius and Brunson had that going a little bit in January, man. I feel like
I
like
agree.
I feel like Julius was setting the table in the first 3 quarters, and then Brunson would just take over at the end. That was becoming the thing. So I'm looking forward to giving it, seeing that happen again, and possibly getting some extra help here. The Knicks are not done, man. The Knicks are knocking on that door. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting point you make, because at one point, like I think Brunson and Randall had 2 or 3 games. I think they definitely had 2 games, but they may have had 3. Could have even been 4, but I definitely think it's 2 or 3 games where they both had 30-30. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And like you said, one would take their time and get off early, and then later, the second half, fourth quarter, the other one would do their thing. So yeah, and it was working. The Knicks were winning. It was also a part of that same January. It was the beginning part of that January. Um, well, not no, it was after the trade happened. Right after the trade happened, that's when they decided to run everything through Randall and Brunson.
right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you're right. They're very interesting duo as well. But it's remarkable to see how much Tatum and Brown can impact the game, because they can do so much on the court. So once again, shout out to Boston. It goes back to saying, that's the team that people need to watch and try to catch, because it is the changing of the guard, right? We talk about the new teams in the league, and then what's going on with the NBA. So, last question is, what's next for the NBA, man? What is there a star player coming out the draft? Is there somebody we should be paying attention to? Because I don't think there's a game changer in this year's draft. There's no Wimbyama, you know what I mean, that we got to worry about. And you know, maybe maybe the kid that's going to Duke will be that guy next year, or whoever else is in the draft. Cooper Rush looks like he's a special player that a lot of people are clamoring about him.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wembanyama type, but I'm just saying like a special player. But I don't know. Is there anybody like in particular, like for example, with this draft that you see that you look at and you like?
This is one of those workhorse drafts, man. Where like for content creators like us, we were into WNBA this year a lot. We were into some other stuff too. So even like women's college basketball had more eyes on it than the men's game this year. So all
Right.
these guys are basically like new to me. A lot of them. Even some of the guys on these high ranking teams, like say like Reed Shepard from Kentucky. I would have to like look at more film of him in order to get a real feel for that guy. And also too, like I see another guy, Stefan Castle, 6'7". They just won the 2 back-to-back championships in UConn, and I really don't, I can't really recall him, how he plays. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those years. But if there are some names that I've been looking at, or that is familiar to me since I've been looking, man. One person I just want to throw out there. He played for Providence. He's a junior, Devin Carter. They were actually comparing him to Brunson because he kind of switched up his game a little bit, and he started basically doing what Brunson does, the little herky jerky stuff, stabbing and jabbing, getting to the basket, with power and that type of thing. Prolific scorer. He's a point guard, but just methodical the way that Brunson plays. So he kind of like he sticks out to me, not just because of all of that, because he averaged 8.7 rebounds as a guard. That's crazy to me. Just to even say
That's
that.
impressive.
So he's one person that impressed me a little bit. Then just the same people keep talking about. Jacoby Walters, one of those guys. They got a couple other guys too that according to these draft sites, they're so far down the draft that you like. But they're good players. Like, why are they so far? So, I mean, as time goes on, some of these guys I think are going to start to move up, and then we'll really get a feel about what's happening, what we're actually looking at.
Right. I was just looking at a draft site. CBS can't get stuff right, bro. They just can't. I don't know what's up with them. From all the bad predictions about the Knicks over the years and what the Knicks would finish at and all this stuff, I'm looking at their top 10 players, and like I'm going down the list and I'm looking at these guys, and then I get to Stefan Castle from UConn. They got this guy listed as a 7'2" center.
Yeah, they're bugging.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on, man?
Yeah, somebody's gonna get fired, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what are we doing here, man?
And the draft is so close too. Right now, we're gonna start seeing mock drafts on YouTube and all that. You know what I'm saying? So those guys gotta get themselves together, man.
I mean, it's an honest mistake. Somebody just obviously didn't, they might have been copying and pasting, but it's just weird because you look at it, even in the breakdown, the comparison is Drew Holiday. Is Drew Holiday a 7-foot center? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I just thought that was fun.
Well, is there a player that you've noticed that you think is pretty good, that you think we might have a chance on?
I'll be honest, I don't really. I mean, you mean the Knicks would have a chance on?
Well, maybe not that, or just like you said, just the NBA wrap up type of thing, in the league.
Yeah, these guys, I honestly don't know enough about them. I hear some good things about Alex Sarr, but I also hear Alex Sarr could be boom or bust. He could be like, well, maybe not as bad, but you just never know with him. Like, who's the guy that Cleveland drafted years ago, the number 1 pick? Oh, he was bad. Oh, he was so bad. I can't remember his name. He was so bad, though. He never turned out. He didn't do anything for Cleveland.
Right.
Oh, I forgot his name. But anyway, he could be that, or like a Greg Oden. But in fairness to Greg Oden had skill. He just couldn't stay healthy. And that injury that he sustained crippled him, and he was never the same player. So I don't want to say him because he actually had talent.
The guys in the chat saying Anthony Bennett. Was it Anthony Bennett?
Thank you, Anthony Bennett. That's him. Yep.
Yeah.
Anthony Bennett was the guy.
They reached so hard for him though, man. He should have been like mid like in the middle of the draft, and they just said, you know what, first pick. But they traded. Who did they get? Did they end up getting LeBron back in for that trade? So it's like,
Yeah, I think
oh
they
no, was it
wound up.
Kevin Love,
No, it
right?
wasn't. No, it was Kevin Love. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Kevin Love.
yeah.
They
Kevin.
got Kevin Love.
Shout
So
out to Uncle Freezy in the building. Salute my brother.
yeah, big Uncle
He
Freezy.
said, yeah, I said Cooper Rush. I meant Cooper Flag. Is it
Yeah,
Cooper Rush the quarterback for like was it Dallas quarterback?
yeah. Cooper Flag's gonna be good, man. He looks
Yeah, I
really
meant Cooper Flag. I don't know why I said Cooper Rush. Yeah. Well, Cooper
yeah,
Rush is a better name in my opinion. So whatever.
I'm getting old, man. I can't remember nothing. Half the time, I can't even figure out what the hell I'm saying.
Yeah. Freezy said Pacom Dadiet. And Ulrich Comache or Chomache. I don't know these dudes, man. I got to do some homework, brother. But you put some names out there that I will look into. These are role players. Okay.
Well, shout out to DJ Shuttle. He put me on to Jalen Tyson from California. He's really good. He has he has a pro level scoring ability. So in college is one thing, but him playing the NBA, I think is gonna. I think like when it comes to like the what do you call it, the summer league and all that, I think he's one of those guys that's probably gonna blow up in summer league. And people are like, yo, who is this guy? And they got him actually in NBA Draft.net in the Knicks range at number 25. So that's a good guy.
I think a guy that might be really good in the league. I mean, he's a one-sided player, right? He doesn't play defense. But as far as scoring, he might turn out to be really special. Just one of those guys you could depend on to get you buckets. Rob Dillingham definitely might be that guy from Kentucky. He's a point guard. He's small, 6'1", but the guy can light it up, man. He's got some really good stuff in his game. So I would be interested to see him. And I think it's either Nikola Topic. I can't remember now. It's Nikola Topic or it's another European guy. I was watching highlights of him the other day. I think it's him. It could be somebody else. And this guy was looking great, man. I was like, man, this guy got some skills on the defensive end and offense.
Yeah, they got two Nicolas in the draft. One is Nikola Topic. He's pretty good. But then they got another guy, Nikola Jurisic. He's good too. He's actually 6'8", and he has like point guard skills. So.
Right. Oh, and thank you, Luke Skywalker Visions, as well, brother, for the Anthony Bennett comment. Yeah, thank you and Freezy for that. Appreciate y'all. Outside of the draft, right? The question still, can be a very open-ended. What's next for the NBA? Like, do you see Boston repeating next year? Are they still the team to beat, or does Denver get back to where they were? Do they become a team that everybody's got to watch again? I honestly think it's like one and done for those two teams, and there's no knock on Boston. I think they have the formula to possibly win again comfortably next year, but you're talking about another year of everything working out fine. Drew Holiday playing. I mean, he's an older, aging veteran, still playing really well. You're talking about him playing a whole season, same capability, same, way he's always played. You're talking about another year of Kristaps Porzingis. Can he stay as healthy as he was this year? And it's not like he was, incredibly healthy, but he played. But can he stay even that healthy next year? Like, certain question marks. And other teams around the league are going to get better, you would assume, right? Will Denver figure out what they were missing, because they ran into some problems and they became like a two-pronged play, with Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray actually struggled a lot throughout the season. He may have picked up his game in the playoffs, but he struggled a lot throughout the season. And so he wasn't really the most reliable, Robin to Jokic's Batman. So they might need to go out and get somebody else to complement them. So stuff like that. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then one more question as a part of that too. Who is the next best player in the league next year?
Yeah, just to sum it up, the NBA is in kind of like limbo right now. It kind of reminds me of just like how they talked about the time of Larry Bird and Magic. during that time period before they came through, it kind of was like, nobody was like, the ratings were going down. They were going to sell the Lakers, that type of thing. They were going, there's a lot of stuff going on. They had another league, so there was the interest in the NBA was kind of like floundering a little bit, So I think right now, especially with because I mean the sport is very popular, but I think there's too many people talking like us. There's too many people talking about the NBA right now. So the talk is overshadowing the game, to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, I think from American players not being trained properly, in my opinion, the European players and stuff, something's lacking in the game. Also, John Morant too kind of screwed things up a little bit. So like you're looking for who's the next guy, who's the next, big time player, and then just from everybody's star search and trying to get like mega teams together, like you kind of screwed the league up in a lot of ways, man. So, I don't know. The league is in flux, man. But I just think that the game will speak for itself. The game always figures it out, and the game always fixes itself, man. So I think the NBA will be fine, but we're definitely in one of those limbo times now where the Celtics, got a little, this team got a little ball of fire. Denver got a ball of fire. The Knicks got a ball of fire right now. We potentially can get up in there too. So, we just have to wait and see. But I definitely don't see a new star rising. I definitely don't see that anywhere. And then we're about to lose a bunch of guys too. Talking about LeBron is like about to be 70 years old, and Durant is like he's right there with him too. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's a good question. Freezy saying Cam Thomas from Brooklyn. I don't know, man. Well, I will say though, Cam Thomas got game. Like he definitely has the talent to be one of the best scorers in the league. Like legitimately, he could be one of the best scorers in the league, if not the best scorer. The other sides of his game, I don't know, but the dude can light it up. I think that next year is going to be a year where we watch Anthony Edwards to see if he can take the next step. Yeah. He took a big step this year. Can he take the next step? I think probably a lot of people are going to be pointing towards Wembanyama because that kid just got better and better as the season grew. Some people might look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Can he just continue to do? I don't think he needs to do more. I mean, dude was averaging like 30, 31 points a game. Like, just continue to play the way he's been playing. Ja Morant will most likely be back. So will Ja reclaim whatever he was doing? And then, you also got to look at other guys in the league who could take the next step if the team feels like they're that guy, like Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is a bucket, man. That kid. So, if OKC says, you know what, they wouldn't do that because Shea is a beast. But like if they wanted to kind of really feature him more, who knows? Who knows what could happen. But there might be some guys out there. There's guys out there that we think are solid players that, because of injury or the focus of the team, haven't really been able to kind of showcase their stuff. Like I'm not saying he's that type of player, but an example is Trey Murphy the third. Sorry, he's a guy like the New Orleans Pelicans should really be trying to feature him and see what they can get out of him. Could he take the team to the next level? So stuff like that. We'll see how it all plays out. There's going to be a lot of question marks with regards to next season. But once again, no matter what happens, everybody's going to shortchange the Knicks. They're going to say, "Oh, well, everybody's going to be better. Oh, Indiana's going to be better. This team's going to be better." Whatever. We hear it every year, and every year the Knicks just keep getting better and better. So I'm rocking with the team.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, as a fan of the league, I want all the teams to do well. I'm looking at Atlanta. Atlanta looks like they can do something special too. But teams have to can't be afraid to just let guys go. Like you mentioned, Trey Murphy. What was the guy's name? The third.
Trey Murphy the third. Yeah.
Yeah, Trey Murphy the third. Right. So I'm looking at a kid like that. So I mean, it doesn't look like Brandon Ingram is working there for them. So just keep Zion with Trey because they got Herb Jones too on that squad too. So they already got Brandon Ingram's replacement. So don't be afraid to trade Brandon Ingram because you're not going to trade him for garbage. You're going to trade him for somebody that you can use, right? So trade Brandon Ingram for somebody that can use and continue to build your team. Even Atlanta. Say Atlanta with a Trey Young. Trey Young. They have Trey Young and DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray to me is actually fitting a little bit better there. So maybe they need to trade Trey Young and then flip it and then just move on with their lives, make the team better. Because I think that's what's killing the league too. A lot of these GMs, they're too busy want to win trades and that type of thing. They're too focused on that, or too focused on paying their guys, but they're not focused on making the teams better. So I think that destroys the league too. Irresponsible GMs and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Freezy threw in
he's throwing a lot of stuff in there.
He's throwing a hip hop question. Greatest New York City rap collective all time. His thoughts out there. He threw Boot Camp, Native Tongues, BDP, the Juice Crew,
DITC, Digging in the Crates crew.
Oh,
yes, Fat Joe, Big L and those guys. Diamond D.
Diamond D. I don't know. You have a thought on that?
Woo.
I knew you was gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that because I was kind of thinking it myself. Actually, I think Wu-Tang might be one of the greatest collectives in hip hop ever because of all of their abilities, and some of the stuff didn't really come to fruition because it's so hard to make all of these guys pop. When so many individual personalities with all this other extracurricular stuff. Plus, you got to figure out a way to be a unit and launch solo careers, and maybe some of the solo careers. I wouldn't say that, but there's other guys who could have had solo careers too that maybe just didn't. They were overshadowed by the biggest names like the Method Mans and the the Raekwons and the Ghostfaces. But there's a lot of guys in that group.
Yeah, Inspector Deck.
Inspector Deck, the Jizza. You know what I mean? Like. One of my favorite guys was You God, and he never got a chance to really blow up.
He's so mad about that. He is so.
Yeah, I know. I
feel bad for him though, but like you said, they did put a lot of time in some of those other guys, So You God had to wait his turn, and his turn never came.
right. Even
Capadonna had records before You God, man, and Capadonna was in jail when they first came out.
And Capadonna, it was crazy because even with him, him. Sorry, that's a little inside joke, but whatever. Even with him, it's weird because he actually was a really good rapper, but he spit some corny stuff. And when he spit the corny stuff, it made people think he was a corny rapper, but he actually had some skill and some flow. Right. But he might not have always put the right pen to paper when people needed a verse, right? When you jumped on the collective with guys, sometimes maybe his verses weren't up to par, especially because of like when Ghostface and Raekwon started spitting, it got crazy.
Yeah, but there's rumors that Ghost was a dust head. That's why he was like, saying all that crazy stuff.
Inspiration, B. Listen, Lawrence Taylor was a monster, but he had a little extra influence when he was out there on the field. So just saying, I don't know.
Full blown crackhead, man. So, it is what it is. But
Rebel INS.
That's Inspector.
Rough Riders. Man, Fred Wong, I hear you, brother. I hear you. Listen, they had like to what Eru said, it's just there's so many good rappers that came out of that crew. It's tough to say. That there's a lot that's better. You want to give like even the Rough Riders, DMX, Dragon. Dragon was alright, but Dragon was more about his flow, not necessarily his lyrics, but his flow was dope. Yeah. DMX was a beast. We know that. Eve was a beast for her, what she did. But I don't know. I don't know about if they had enough compared to these other people. And then how can we forget the Locks?
Yeah, the Locks, yeah. But they was rocking shiny suits before, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. The next plateau. What?
Freezy knows his hip hop, man,
I know, I see.
The Firm is another one. But the
The Firm
Firm,
was a nice collective.
it was a nice collective, but they flopped that. I feel like they just put that together. They didn't really like, because they had a couple standout songs, but it was really they were like trying too hard to get on the radio and didn't really, because like some of the standout songs are they have guys on that song that weren't particularly in the Firm, like say
Right.
Noriega and Cannabis is in the album
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Their best song is that song with Noriega talking about "I'm leaving," that part. You know,
Mm.
so I don't.
So wait, the Firm finished. It was AZ,
Yeah,
Foxy, Nas, and Nature.
Dre. Yeah, Nature. It was like Nature was on it, and then Dre was supposed to be doing the beats.
Cormega was supposed to be the original member, right? I forget if it was, I flip flop those guys all the time, whether it was supposed to be Nature first and then it became Cormega, or if it was Cormega first and it became, I always forget that.
Yeah, Nature was just coming out, so I think they were trying to put him on, kind of, but it
Yeah.
was kind of too late in the game for him. Cormega
Yeah.
was always in the wrong place, always in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place at the whatever it is. He's
Yeah.
always in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
messed up
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Well, I mean, we'll see because the hip hop groups are dead. The R&B groups are dead. So all the groups just don't make it anymore these
Yeah, man,
days.
that sucks, man. Hip hop is beautiful, man. But like those super groups and just like I mean, Freezy's going crazy. He got Salt and Pepper Kid and Play, Dana Dane, Sweet Tea, Ultraman Nega MCs. What's another one? Stetson Sonic.
Stetson Sonic with their, then they came back with a new album.
Yeah. Did you listen
So
to it?
yeah,
It was pretty
I
dope.
heard, I heard, I heard. I didn't get to hear the whole thing. I heard about 6 songs, 5, 6 songs. I think. Yeah, I was probably surprised. It's always interesting when a group that hasn't been around in a while comes back. Like how relevant can they be? Can they make it so that you can give them a shot? And so as the more I kept hearing the song, I was like, okay, I'll hear the next song. And it just it got late because I was listening to it late. But other than that, I would have heard the whole album.
Yeah. But I think like the feeling of hip hop is universal. So it's like once you hear hip hop, then that it's good. You know what I'm saying? So even though Stetson Sonic, some like say a young person might listen to it, but like, yo, what are these old guys? What the hell are they doing? But if you can get past that, you can be like, yo, this is a hip hop album. You know what I'm saying? This is not trash. It's actually a hip hop album. But they didn't make
Yeah.
that album for them. They made it for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's a fair point. Shout out to Fred Wong. I mean, because I do forget, sometimes I forget because the locks has been all over the place. And I do know that they were there, but I sometimes forget because they definitely been everywhere. That's a fair point. DMX, Dragon, Jadakiss, Styles P, Chic, there's no better five. I get, listen, I'm once again going back to that Wu-Tang. If I was to say Method Man, Ghostface Killer, Raekwon, Inspector Deck, and Jizza, that five is tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough five right there. So,
What and you want to talk about albums too? I think outside of DMX, drag album was you know you know I don't want to make people upset because it's like I'm about to make a Mitchell Robinson take based on Jadakiss. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a Jadakiss fan either, man. I think Jadakiss is good.
what?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Jadakiss, man.
But he's top 5 dead or alive.
But that's what he said. That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? And everybody agreed to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's good, man. But I mean, like, there's so many other rappers on his level, so I just don't get it.
I hear you. That's fair. Lawrence Tears, my guy Freezy said Def Squad. Def Squad was rough.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a collective too. Yeah, look, what we all can say is we were fortunate to live through the 80s and the 90s and witness some really great music and some great groups. Even going back to boot camp. Boot camp had a lot coming on. There was a lot going on at boot camp. They had some stuff. So yeah.
So I see Fred Wong right there. He said what? So I guess he's talking about the. I'm assuming he's
the
talking about
Jadakiss
Jadakiss, right?
Yeah.
So top 5 dead or alive. So like I said, we just talked about Wu-Tang. We just named 5 Wu-Tang members, and all 5 of those guys are better than Jadakiss.
It's a rough show. This took a turn. This took a turn, folks. Hey, listen. What the good thing about it is that hip hop was so good at that time that everything is subjective. Like everything is up to interpretation, and there's a plausible case for a lot of what's said. You can say a lot. I saw something the other day that said, and I can't. So don't expect me to do it. I can't remember off the top of my head the whole thing. I saw something the other day. It's floating around YouTube. You can look it up yourselves about Jay-Z and him saying that he's one of the best rappers and had one of the best runs in hip hop, right? And then someone said, "Well, when did he ever actually have a good run in hip hop?" And this young man broke down all of the players. I mean, the NBA, the rappers that took over years, right? And said, okay, it was this person, it was that person, it was that person, and basically left Jay-Z out of it. Because even then, you go into the 2000s, everybody knows the 2000s was Wayne. However, if we're talking about success, because a part of his argument was also who was successful, who had the hits of the summer, and who had the biggest selling albums. Jadakiss, Lil Wayne had an incredible run in the 2000s, but the early part of that run was mixtape Wayne. So it wasn't necessarily commercial success. He might have took over the underground and he might have been on the radio all the time, but it was mixtape Wayne. So when you actually look at two of those years in that time period, Jay-Z had the biggest selling album. He had the most hits. He was on the top 100 5 weeks in a row, the most of any rapper of two of those years. So, everything is subjective. It's left up to interpretation. It is what it is. But I got where the guy was going. It was fair. It was fair.
It was. I heard that. He gave a really good argument.
Yeah, it was fair.
Gave you 6 albums, 6 straight summers. Where's the love? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly. Oh man. So let me see here. Junior Mafia. No, hell no. That one I'm a veto. That's Biggie. It's Biggie, and Lil C's and Lil Kim. All them dudes is Biggie.
Yeah, G Unit too. 50 Cent held it down for a couple years too.
Sean Price was great. Yeah, I love Sean Price.
Sean Price is one of my favorite rappers of all time, man. I love
Sean
that.
Price was a beast.
Rest in peace,
man.
Sean Price.
Yeah. G Unit. Mm-hmm. G Unit. Listen, not bad. I don't know if they stack up, bar for bar with these other guys that we've been mentioning, but as a collective, they were all popping collective. They definitely had a good. And if you throw, that's cheating a little bit. And if you throw game in it, they're even better. I'm just saying. But Dipset, the Doopsie Doos and Whoopsie Woos and all that. Yeah, I mean, they had their run. They was something. I hear you on that. Lil C's first album was dope. That's a fact.
Yo, man, the Wu-Tang stuff, man, you got to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Don't say that anybody on Wu-Tang was trash. I hope you're not leading to that. Because Method Man I think Method Man got better. Method Man is incredible. His flow is incredible, and his lyrics done got, above that, and he looks younger than he did back in the days. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So,
if you were going to say, I don't even know if I could answer this.
What's that?
Who's the best member of Wu-Tang?
I mean, it's subjective, man. But Ghostface had a big album run, man. He had to put out a few albums that would really, all of them were dope. Beats and rhymes, everything was crazy. For maybe I'm gonna say 4 albums straight, man. He put out good music.
But then Raekwon has given you maybe one of the best albums of all time,
featuring Ghostface.
True, and some other, like Nas, and he had some really good features. But it's tough. It's a tough one. That's a tough one. Ghostface may be the best spitter out of all the Wu, though. Maybe just consistently, he might be the best spitter out of all of them.
Shout out to Inspector Day. He has a group called Czarface with him and another rapper. I keep forgetting his name, But his lyrics on that album, you guys got to check that. If you never heard of Czarface, check out Czarface. He's on that. Inspector Deck is in that group, and
Uh,
the beats and the lyrical decisions on that is they're definitely different than Wu Tang. So get into that. So he's a good. I mean, Wu Tang got some good rappers, man. You can't downplay that their work. You can't even rank them really, man, because they all are nice. And we're not even talking about Master Killer and those guys, because we're not talking about them. We're talking about the guys we're talking about: Raekwon, Ghostface, Method Man, Inspector Deck. Those are the big ones there, man. Those guys are nice. Even RZA's nice too.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he has his moments. He does
Yeah.
have his moments. I
I mean, yeah, he had his moments. Yeah, Bobby Digital, always bugging out. RZA's always on some next shit. But he's put out some good stuff. Throughout the
yeah,
year.
I mean, anybody who has that much creative genius with regards to beats and stuff like that, some of the stuff he's gonna say is gonna be interesting. It's gonna hit. I mean, he does do a little. I mean, but we've hip hop is like hip hop is very transient. It's very subjective. We talked about Missy Elliott said some wild stuff. Like people say some wild stuff. But Fred Wong is sticking to his guns. None are better than Jadakiss. And yes, top 5. The Triumph verse is top 5 all time. Yeah, Inspector Deck's verse on that is one of the best verses in hip hop history. It's true. I think that verse got 5 mics back in the Source days. Yeah, it was just incredible. It was a beast. The beast verse.
Let me tell you something about Jadakiss, right? Just to throw it out there. Remember when everybody was doing those gang records? Every time Jadakiss was on a gang record, did he ever have a verse by himself, or was he spitting with Styles P in the same verse? And let me ask you a question too: who's better, Styles P or Jadakiss? You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, "Oh no, it's Jadakiss all the way." No, I don't think so. Let's listen to some of Styles P's projects that he's put out throughout the years. Styles P's put out some great stuff. Throughout the years. Compilation albums with other rappers. He did one with Talib Kweli. He did one with what's Money's name from Harlem. It's called Beloved. I forgot Money's name. But he did quite a few good pieces of work, man. Good projects. So Styles P needs some credit too.
That's fair. That is a fair point, because I always said that what made the lock so good is that back and forth combo of Styles P and Jadakiss. And Sheik was just the smooth dude. Sometimes he'd spit some bars too, but he kind of gave me a nice and smooth flow. He's better than Smooth B, but like he was like the Smooth B of the group.
You
know what I mean?
Even in Reservoir Dogs, Sheik had his own verse in Reservoir Dogs. He started the song off, and Jadakiss, did Jadakiss have his own verse? No, right? It was him and Styles P, right? No. Jadakiss had his own verse. My bad. Anyway, I just want to argue.
No, I hear you.
I just want to argue.
Some of this stuff is like I said, it's up to interpretation, and everybody's gonna have their opinion.
Yeah.
And it's all respectable. Like I said, we were fortunate to be alive in a great time for music. Yeah, Sheik was very commercial.
I don't know about.
No, I mean, because I would think he's more of the he could sell a record. You know what I mean?
Acting hard when you was as RuPaul. I don't know about commercial. And then in the Reservoir Dogs, he was like, "Shut the F up before I blast a band from TV."
He's had some good moments.
Yeah, I mean, he was hard. He wasn't commercial. He's trying to make it like he was Father MC. He wasn't Father MC.
But I mean, but he did have that joint, the Good Love. That was the joint. Hey,
I get it.
Yeah, but so I hear you. I was just listening to. Well, we're gonna go off the rails, man. But this is definitely good fodder for a nice hip hop conversation on the wrap up. Now, I don't have a wrap up scheduled for right now, but I think we do need to get back into that and get if we can have a really good hip hop conversation, because I think there's a lot going on, and would love to have Freezy on for one of those, because I think the conversation could be really interesting, because there's so much hip hop that I think we kind of, we forget about, we overlook it. As time goes by, you forget stuff. It's not that you don't know it, it's just that you haven't thought of it, you haven't heard it. You're like, oh man. For example, yesterday I was on the train, and I usually watch a video of certain things, or I download them, or maybe I'll listen to music. It's a lot of R&B, but for whatever reason, I decided to listen to Obi Trice. Let me tell you something. That Obi Trice album is fire. First album is freaking fuego, bro.
Yeah,
I
wish they would have did more with him, because he is a really good artist, though.
Dude, could you imagine? And then talk about a layup for an artist. You're an artist that never came out with anything, and you are on Shady Records. Eminem is featured on 4 of your tracks. You get beat production by Eminem and Dr. Dre. You get 2 songs featuring Nate Dogg, which were fire hooks, because you know how Nate used to love spitting out them hooks. And you also get collaborations by 50 Cent and Lloyd Banks. Like, that album was fire.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
There's a lot of dope collaborations out there, man. We can just go on forever as far as that. I see Blase, man. I don't know. Blase is from East New York, man. He's from where I'm from.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to go back into the Blase catalog. I don't know about that one.
He had 2 songs, man. I think Blase.
OC.
Yo, I feel bad for OC because he was supposed to blow. OC. He was supposed to be one of the guys to come up, but he didn't catch the wave. He didn't catch the wave at the right time. Jay-Z caught the wave and went with it. Big L got killed. You know what I'm saying? Nas, did what he did. OC was supposed to kind of like do something similar.
No love for Prodigy. Yeah, Prodigy is all music. Listen, Prodigy was always nice. Yeah. I definitely think Mobb Deep was incredible. Young Prodigy was ridiculous. Young Prodigy. But they were such a good group, man. Even Havoc had some fire bars when they were young. Young man. Havoc was. Oof.
He don't get no credit, man. Like, people always talk about Prodigy, but Havoc has some. If you go through the albums, you listen to some of the stuff. Yo, he was spitting too, man. He was saying some stuff.
Yeah, they had a really good group. Incredible. Yeah. Fabulous, yes, of course, always. And Juru, but Juru, like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little sleepy on Juru, because I just like, he got a couple songs that I really rock with, but as far as a body of work catalog, I don't know about Juru too much. I'm biased, baby. I haven't heard enough.
You got to take a look. Look at because he put together there's 2 albums. The Sun Shines, Sets It, whatever. I forgot the name of the albums, but he has 2 albums that are really good. Like, even the second one, that I can't remember the name of the second one. The second one, what's the name? DJ Premier was trying to make radio songs for him. So could you imagine like Premier Beats, but trying to lean on the side of radio? So J. Rue was, everybody had the. All good rappers had their time, had their little moment in time,
Yeah, people love to throw that name out there. Cool G. You lose because I got the ill. They love throwing Cool G out there.
Cool G Rap is my GOAT, bro. Cool G Rap is my GOAT.
It's a shame what happened with Cool G, man, because he could have dominated. But
man, that song he did with Nas, man, what's it called? Fast Life and Fast Car.
Fast Life, yeah.
Oh my God, man, he was going crazy in that song, man. But it was so bad that Nas verses weren't bad, but that first verse when he was rapping and Nas started rapping, it's like, yo, man, shut up, put Cool G back on.
Was that the same album with Sugar Hill? Miss Jones was on the hook.
No. I don't remember what album that was on. That might have been a Cool G Rap song.
Oh, maybe it was a Cool G. I don't know. For whatever reason, I always think that's a Nas song, but it probably is a Cool G song.
Yeah, I think it's a Cool G Rap song.
Yeah.
But the problem with Cool G Rap is that all of his great work has been on features. And that's the issue with Cool G Rap. But he's actually, he did a compilation, not compilation. He did an album with 38 Special. I don't know if you heard of 38 Special. He's dope too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's from what do you call it? Buffalo or whatever.
Oh, that's AZ. I don't know why I thought, But wait, but isn't Coogee on that song as well with AZ or no? He's not. Maybe I'm bugging. I don't know why I feel like AZ and Coogee did a song together, and I thought that was it.
Yes, they did. They did a song together. Oh man, I can't think of the name of it, but they did a song together too. Yep, cut off the Do or Die album. Yep.
Ah, okay, all right, okay, yeah. I'm bugging. Yeah, AZ was Miss Jones. That's what it was. Yeah. And okay, it was just all right. My bad. I don't know. Sometimes so that's the other thing with getting older and not remembering exactly how things went down. You start to like, oh yeah, you remember that song that Nas did with Jay-Z, Biggie, and Big L? What?
It's a lot of that's the curse of getting old, man. We got so much information we can't remember none of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Freezy remember everything, man. This guy's got mind like an elephant. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, man. Anyway, this is good. I like this because it sets up for a good conversation for when we do the wrap up, because now I'm excited to do that. I've been kind of holding off because I really want to get back into us getting some good guests to talk about or to talk with and interview, but I wouldn't mind throwing at least one in there if we don't have a guest to get into a nice hip hop conversation and just, more of the classic hip hop from our time. There's, and then what is classic hip hop? Because I'm sure everybody's going to be coming out with my Adidas and Run DMC and all types of cool and Cool Herc and all these guys. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's going to get crazy, but that could be an interesting conversation. So we'll see. Stay tuned for that, fellas. And appreciate you, Freezy, for all of this flooding the chat with so much, bro. I appreciate that. And I would love to hit that link, but I am starving right now. I haven't eaten since early this morning, and I'm really hungry. Or else I would keep it going with the, obviously respect of Eru's time. But yeah, man. Any final words, my brother?
I'm just happy to talk to you, man. I'm glad you popped in the chat, and I'm glad you invited me over to do the NBA wrap up. And I'm here, man. Love talking to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I appreciate you the same way, brother. It's always fun, man. When we get to chop it up, I'm excited. Fred Wong said Jay-Z has been the most consistent in every rap category. This is true. And every summer, every year he came out with a hit. And every summer he had something that people were rocking with. But, sometimes, it's a part of marketing, right? Bad Boy did certain things a certain way and made you market it a certain way to make you think they were it. Yeah. And they created their own sound, and then everybody kind of followed the sound. So they actually created the narrative, and it became that. Jay-Z created every summer, I'm the king of the summer. I'm always coming out. And so at some point, Jay-Z was hitting you with new music like before the summer, and then he was coming out with new albums like every November or something like that. Yeah. But so yeah, he knew how to do it. He knew how to really market himself.
He also left things on the table too. Jay-Z always left stuff on the table. I feel like he always could have went and did more, but he always just left, held back a lot. So I wish, I think he owes us, man. He owes us a hip hop album.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Freezy, no, not on Keeping It Ron. When we get into the hip hop talk, we'll probably be doing it on the front stoop. But I will say, as we get a little deeper into time on Keeping It Ron, we're gonna get into the hip hop bag, and get into some stuff on that as well. I guess you can look for videos from me coming shortly. I've got some stuff that I have not reacted to that I've already got queued up. I just got to do it. So there's a lot of stuff. And I'm really looking forward to the Tiny Desk stuff that's coming out. SWV should be on Tiny Desk very soon in the next couple of weeks. And I'm really looking forward. It's probably in between this week and next week, because this is Black Music Month on Tiny Desk. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, man. So yeah, just stay tuned, everybody. We got some good stuff. And then obviously we're going to get, the Nick talk and all that good stuff is still going to be happening. So as I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Nick fans will be back again, whether it be on the NBA wrap-up, joined by my guy Eru here from Die Hard Knicks, or it could be on Know the Ledge on Saturdays 11:30, or on Monday nights at 9 p.m. for SKF Weekly with my brother John. And eventually, Jose is inching closer to coming back, so we'll be back to full strength soon. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
Oh my God, look at this. Yo, man, Freezy be knowing. I didn't even remember Wreck on the regular and then Pudgy the Fat. Oh my God, bro. Sheesh. Man. Okay. Oh, Damian Cox had one comment to say OKC won the trade. Yeah, probably. I mean, Caruso is going to fit great over there. That team is looking good. They're on the upswing. And yeah, I think they, you want to say they won the trade, but don't count it out, brother. As we were talking about earlier, remember, Josh Giddey wasn't being used the same way he used to be used. With the Bulls, he might become their primary facilitator. So you might see, something different from Josh Giddey. Remember, the guy has a lot of ability, and he's 6'9". So don't count him out.
Yeah, definitely star him on your fantasy team, man.
Yeah. He's down now. Oh yeah. I can't talk to Eru about fantasy. He be kicking my butt every year when we get it.
Every year, man. I'm trying to.
Jesus Christ, man. I don't know how you do it, bro.
Hey, shout out to Steph. Steph is actually on now on her show, but
Steph be killing it.
Yeah, she won last year.
Yeah. I don't worry, but hey, I did get better. I was better this year than in the past, so that's a good sign. I'm getting there. It's just tough. Like with all these 20 teams, it's tough to I don't know how y'all do it, man. Y'all be finding the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah. Just better, man. Just better, that's all.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely catch you on the next one. And just stay tuned. Continue to support Nothing But Knicks content. Continue to support Still Knicks fans content, and continue to support diehard Knicks content with our guy Eru here. Tuck the thumb, 4 fingers to the. I don't know nothing, man. I don't know what he's doing. I'm out here looking like crazy up here. All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Have a great rest of your evening. We out. Run that.